closed to the public. There are no scheduled public hearings, and there will be no public comment period. Live video and audio of the meeting will be aired on Comcast Local Channel 9. Additionally, a recording of the meeting will be posted in the West Bridgewater Community Access Video On Demand website at https://cam.org/VOD. Okay, I think since we have folks here to present, maybe we'll go straight to the budgets and we'll talk about the meeting minutes at the end, if that works for everybody.
Mhm.
Cheryl and Chris, thanks for joining us. Would you like to introduce yourselves to the committee and talk to us about your budget?
Cheryl, you're muted.
Hello. Hey. No.
Cheryl, can you get off mute?
So they rolled over your IRAs.
I just texted her.
Yeah. And you won't get taxed on those unless you cash them out. So just roll them over into the other IRA and then you'll be all set. Talk to your HR. Did you set up an IRA with the new job? Well, so you need to set up, talk to payroll or HR and tell them you want to set up an IRA with them and you want to go over.
There's a lot of background noise coming
Okay.
from someone. Oh, there you are.
I think I figured it out. Sorry.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes, please.
All right. My name's Cheryl Cambria. I'm the chair of the Community Preservation Committee. And Chris, do you want to? I think everybody might know you.
Sure, I'm vice chair of the CPA with Cheryl, so I'll let her do the presentation.
Well, thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Thanks. So we had one project that the community met and approved for funding, or actually approved to go for, to push it forward to town meeting. And it is the Department of Public Works has requested $110,000 to continue work in the town-owned cemeteries. This would be phase 3 of work. And I believe they're still in South Street, but there's also the Cochesset and Powder Hill cemeteries that need work. And it's, if anybody has any questions about this project, Chris kind of has been spearheading this. If anybody has any questions.
So can you tell us a little bit, Chris, about specifically what you're doing?
Sure. This has been going on for maybe 3-4 years now. And we are restoring the stones and the crypts at the South Street Cemetery, which is the oldest cemetery going back to the 1600s. We've restored 3 crypts and literally dozens and dozens of stones, either repaired, cleaned, or refinished. There's a small amount still left in that cemetery. We're under the auspices of the Mass Historic Commission and our engineering firm that oversees the construction. And once we're done in South Street, we'll move over to probably freeze it over by Route 24, which, if any of you have noticed, is in pretty tough shape. So that's about it.
Thank you. Cheryl, no other projects this year, just this one?
Yep, this was it. I did just, I got a call from John Delano. I think somebody in town was interested in maybe next year going for another agricultural preservation restriction, similar to our first project with the Anderson Farm. So that's something to look forward to for next year.
Yeah.
If the other information that I included in my memo to you guys was just to let you know that we've been working on our community preservation plan. It is, I think the last one was done in 2014. So this is an update of the plan. Our preservation consultant, J.M. Goldson, has been helping, and we did, I don't know if anybody saw on Facebook and on the town website, we had presented a survey. So it was good to get a little more input from the town and to be able to do it during this COVID time. We can at least connect with the residents. So that's in process, and hope there will be a public hearing. It'll actually sometime probably before the end of March. If anybody's interested in learning more about it. The other item I wanted to update everybody on that I thought was pretty neat was last year, the residents approved a project for the preservation assessment and preparation of paperwork for nomination of Skim Milk Bridge. And that was for $17,500. And at the same time, Joan Pierce, she's like a co-sponsor. She's with the Mass Department of Fish and Game. She had applied for a grant with the Taunton River Stewardship Council, and she was awarded $12,000. And that will go towards the nomination papers to get Skim Milk Bridge on the National Register of Historic Places. So that $12,000, once the project's all said and done, will go back into the CPC, it'll go back into wherever it came from, into the CPC fund, and be available for future projects.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, yep. And then the last, I just wanted to kind of go over about how much money we have going forward. The reserve fund balance changes all the time. It's fluid, so I don't have an actual number. To give you an idea, we generally collect about $185,000 in revenue from the town, and then the actual estate match from last year was $57,222. So it was little over, I can't do math in my head, but it was probably about $45,000. Currently, we do have $30,996 in the Open Space and Recreation Fund. The Historic Preservation has $4,000 in it, and the housing has $174,206. These are the buckets. I don't know if you remember when I go to town meeting, I talk about you have to put a certain amount of money into each bucket that we have, and that's what we have. So when the next fiscal year starts, we'll be able to get another at town meeting. We'll put more money in, probably about $21,000 each. So
where does the 110 come? These balances are after the 110, or where is that coming from?
Oh, the 110 for the project?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be after town meeting. So that project has to go to town meeting and have the residents even approve it.
Mm-hmm.
And once that does go through, it will be, I don't know if they take some of the money out of historic preservation. And that's probably why the balance is so low. But they'll probably use that, and then the rest of the balance will come out of the reserve fund.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions on this budget?
Yeah, I had a question on what do you consider housing?
that was something that we had our preservation consultant meet with the housing authority to talk about projects that were needed over at Esther Drive. It can also, the housing can also be used for projects like his Habitat for Humanity. And I think right now they're just kind of saving some money, thinking about which projects would be best to do. And it's kind of nice. They have a big chunk of money that they could put towards something. I don't know if you remember, several years ago, they installed a large generator so that when the power went out in the apartments over at Esther Drive, everybody could go to the community center. And they've also worked on the balconies over there. They got some money to make some repairs over there. Those are the types of projects that can be done through housing. It's a tricky bucket, so, and I'm not 100% on everything that is eligible under housing with the CPA. So I always refer to Jen at JM Goldson if there's a question or somebody is curious about a project.
Yeah, it just seems strange to me that we would, from the CPC, be funding things on Esther Drive, for instance, that you would almost think that anything needed there would come out of a different department.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions on this budget? No? Okay, thanks, Cheryl. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Let's see, who would be next? Victor's not here yet, right? So maybe we can go back and talk about meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes for the meeting of February 18th?
I'll make a motion to, are we approving or are we
We're
accepting?
approving.
Approve the minutes of February 18th.
Do I have a second?
I will second.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, who's the person's name who moved to approve the meeting?
Cheryl.
Cheryl, thank you.
So Cheryl moved and Scott, I think Scott seconded, right?
That's
Right.
correct. Yes.
Thank you. So all those in favor? Oh, actually, we have to do the roll call. I'm sorry. Scott?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Mo?
Aye.
Jim? Jim, you're on mute.
Jim Holden.
Aye, sorry.
Thank you. Cheryl?
Aye.
And Cynthia?
Aye.
And Jan? Aye. Okay, thank you. And then we have to accept the meeting minutes from the March 4th meeting for review. Do we have a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mo. Do I have a second?
I'll second it, Cindy.
Thank you. Okay, Scott?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Mo?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye,
Cheryl?
Aye.
And Cindy?
Aye.
And Jan? Aye. Great, thank you very much. I don't see Vic here, so David, do you want to you're doing a couple budgets, right? Do you want to work on those?
I am, sure. So I just texted the police chief and he said that he'll log on in just a second. So
Thank you very much.
you're welcome. So yeah, I'll go through the budgets. I mean, these three, two of them belong to FinCom, one is the Selectmen. They're all pretty easy. The Board of Selectmen, there are only two changes. There's a step increase for the confidential secretary, so there's a small increase in that line. And then there is an expense that we no longer have to worry about in the other line for phones. So the net result is the Selectmen's budget will actually be down year over year. And then the two FinCom budgets, the finance committee operating budget of $3,100. That's just being level funded year over year. In the reserve account of $67,000. We've done a pretty good job of not having to access it over the past few years, but we still have to have it there because you never know what could happen. For the new members, this account is created by Mass General Law. It's as deficit, you cannot deficit spend in any of your budgets except for snow and ice or for declared emergency purposes. So if any budgets during the course of the year potentially run into a financial issue, they can go to the finance committee, and with a vote of the selectmen in the finance committee, they can then transfer money from the finance committee reserve fund and to offset whatever those unforeseen expenses were. So we'll level fund that at 67,000.
Yeah, we have used it a couple times, but I don't think we used any last year, right?
We did not.
Yeah, okay. Any
David,
question-
how do we arrive at that 67,000?
There was a number that the finance committee had funded it in the past at that number. It's been that number now since about 2015 and or 2014, and that's just been the number that we've carried. We've only had to use the bulk of it in 1 year. Most of the other years, we usually use maybe half of it. But I don't think that there was a scientific method, Mo. I think it was what we had available that 1 year, and we just historically carried it forward.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Any other questions on any of these three budgets?
I have none.
Great. No concerns? Great. Okay. Thank you, David.
Oh, you're welcome.
We'll wait for Chief Flaherty, I think, right?
Yeah. He said he should be logging on any minute.
Oh, okay. And then that's it on the agenda tonight, right?
It is. It's a simple one tonight. What we did, historically, these budgets have not been easy.
Yeah.
Right? This year they are because everybody's taking a 0% and we've asked everybody to level fund.
Yeah.
So when we started this process years ago, we used to have the police budget, CPC, and the other three budgets we just did now. All of those were done at your meeting last week. But a couple of times those meetings lasted till 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. Excuse me, and the finance committee felt that was just too late because most of you work.
Yeah.
You're exhausted by that time. And not to mention, for example, the police chief gets in at 8 or 8:30 in the morning. We're asking him at 9:30 at night to come in and present a budget.
Yeah.
So we broke it up into 2 nights. Quite frankly, had we known it was going to go this simple and this easy, we probably could have just brought it back last week. But unfortunately, this is why you have that extra meeting right now. In the future, I guess if budgets are that simple, but Sarah and I can always talk and we could figure it out. But that's why you have such a short meeting tonight.
Yeah. No, that's okay. So I think we're scheduled to meet next Thursday, right? Next Thursday, and we're going to do that one in person. And that's going to be the school budget, and I think there's a couple others, right? So we have the Southeast Regional. Oh, and then some of the smaller ones, the moderator, the weights and measures, the historical commission. So we'll have a little bit of stuff to do on that one.
You will. So you'll have your 2 school budgets, and then I will handle all the other budgets that are on there. Some of them, like you said, are small, like the moderator budget.
Yeah.
There are 2 larger budgets that will be there that night as well. One is going to be your benefits budget, and the other one is insurance. Although insurance actually isn't that big; it's a couple $100,000. But obviously, your benefits budget is pretty large, but most of it's outside of our control.
Yeah.
And then the good news is, and surprisingly, you guys will have actually finished all of your budget reviews. So the next meeting, and we don't know when that will be yet, and I'll tell you why in a second, but the next meeting, the Board of Selectmen then will vote on a balanced budget and present it to the Finance Committee. And the Finance Committee then will make its recommendations on that budget to town meeting. So we are scheduled at this point for April 6th and April 7th, I believe is the dates. But that's 3 weeks in between, April 7th and April 8th. So the selectmen may do it the week earlier because Although may sound like a long way from now, it's actually not. We have a town meeting in 60 days.
So you're saying
And
our meeting after the 18th, maybe the 7th? Is that
right
what I'm hearing?
now, no, following traditional practice, your next meeting would be April 8th.
Oh, the 8th.
But the selectmen may meet on March 31st. And so we can always pull your meeting forward to April 1st. So I'll have to let you know. I don't know how that's going to play out yet.
Okay,
Chances are we'll probably be okay just doing it on April 8th.
okay.
But I'll let you know. And what I was trying to say is that, in 60 days we have a town meeting. It sounds like a lot of time, but the warrant for town meeting has to be posted 2 weeks in advance by law. It takes 4 to 5 days for it to go to the printer, get reviewed, printed, and dropped off. So really 3 weeks beforehand, about May 1st, we have to be done.
Yeah,
So that's why for the month of April, we'll have everything put together and we'll start to vote, fine tune everything, and then put it all on paper for legal counsel to review and then get to the printer.
okay. I think we were supposed to look at pictures too for the front of the book, so maybe that can go next time.
Yeah, we have pictures. Do you have any?
No, I thought Lorna was going to put it on the agenda, but I don't know if it got held up.
No, so I'll ask her.
I might have crossed wires.
No, it's okay. What we normally do is we just put out a request and say if anybody has pictures. And in years past, sometimes we've got hundreds. So we can always look at some previous years, some submittals as well. And so one of the meetings in April, you're right, you'll put it on the agenda. That way you guys can all take a look at the picture. Historically, again, for the new members, historically, the committee will vote and pick the picture you want to put on the front. So,
Yeah, I think she said she where did I see it? I saw it somewhere. It was posted. They were looking for photos, but I don't know if she got any. I assume she must have, but if not, we got some really nice ones last year. We could always go back to those.
I agree.
Okay. Any questions on that process or? Okay.
And everybody knows town meeting is on May 17th.
Yeah. Jan, where are we meeting next week?
So it's the 18th, and I think we're going to meet at the the Council on Aging, right, David? Is that where we decided we were going?
Yeah, so we're going to go to the Council on Aging.
Yeah.
Valentina, can you do me a favor? Can you forward over a link or an invite to the police chief? He's saying he doesn't see one. So
I'll email one to him.
all right, do you have his email address?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
All right, thank you.
Does that work for everybody, the Council on Aging? Then we had our first meeting there in that room.
Yes, I thought it was good. We were spaced and
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's plenty of room in there, right?
We won't hit any capacity type things. I know that was a concern the last time we were in there.
Yeah, I think they opened it up though, right? The number of people that you can have. It was at 10, but I think it's more now. I think it's at least 25.
Yep. So after March, yeah. So that's exactly right. So we'll be good.
All right, I sent it to him. I
All
think
right,
it
thank
should
you.
work.
Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, he received it. He's logging on now.
Great. Thanks, David.
You're welcome.
Doing that in the background. Hello, how are you?
there he is.
Can you hear us okay?
I am here. Yes, I am here.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks for joining early. We appreciate you coming.
No problem.
Can you introduce yourself? We have a few new members on the committee this year. It'd be nice to get introduced in case they don't know you.
Well, I would hope they see my, face all over, on social media, but I'm Vic Flaherty. I'm the chief of police here in West Bridgewater. I've been a member of the department since 1988. I'm sure I met or spoke with most of you.
I'm just glad I don't see you in my rearview mirror.
Well, yeah. If you see me in your rearview mirror, there's really a problem. You really gone something wrong.
Yeah. Can you talk to us about your budget?
Well, the budget is actually, I'm just going to bring it up on another screen here because I can't read my little writing here. So pardon me if I don't see you all here. It's pretty basic this year because we were asked to be really tight with our budgets.
Yep.
I'm sure David has said that, or told most of the finance committee about how we negotiated the raises to be zero this year because due to the COVID, and we thought that the annual revenues were going to be down. So the association did take a 0%. Along with me, I relinquished a raise that was negotiated because I think we all realize that the town's been really good to us, and we understand that at sometimes tough times start to come, so we all wanted to pitch in. So you'll see the permanent salary line only increased by around 13,426. That is very low, and that's only step increases, and one individual raised his degree from a associate's to a bachelor's degree, so that brought it up a little bit. So the only raise there, like I said, is a few step increases because we have some new guys, so there's step increases each year for like the first 4 years, and then it goes to year 6. So it's only minimum 13,426. The next line, I think that's up. I'm going to just go by lines that are increasing. If you want me to do something differently, let me know.
No, I think that works.
Okay, and then the next line, an increase, and you can thank the governor for the new holiday, June 19th. Unfortunately, in the contract, the association members get any state holiday. So they declared this a state holiday. I don't think really anybody thought too much into it because the association, the members there will get either paid that holiday if they don't take it, and or if they take it, I have to fill it. I'm estimating that it's going to increase about probably around $8,000 to fulfill that holiday. If we didn't have that, I could keep that as low as probably $1,500.
Yeah.
But that is what it is. The next line, I think I can't see the side over here. I think is the vacation line.
Longevity, maybe? Is it longevity or vacation?
$5,000 on, let me look here, on the vacation line, the overtime vacation line.
Oh, sorry. Yep.
We have more people getting more vacation. I've never hit that number as best as I can try to do. So I upped that a little bit. The longevity has actually gone down a little bit this year due to the retirement of Officer Thaxter and a new member, so it offset it there. And then the next one I have, I think it's 1,400, and that is for, let me see here, allowances and stipends. And that's basically just a contractual part of the increase due to the number of officers or if they're hitting another step in their years in service.
So with one officer retiring, did you hire someone new for that position?
Yep. We have somebody presently in the police academy, Olivia Church. It's very exciting. Olivia will be joining the force. She's in the academy now. She started March 1st. A little nervous, but she will be joining us probably sometime in mid-August.
That's great. So we don't have any reductions in salary because a younger person versus the retiree, or?
Well, we do have some reduction in that, and that's why I think that number for permanent salaries is only at the 13. Because
Gotcha.
we've gained a little in that, and by losing somebody, if we hadn't lost somebody, that figure would have been probably about $25,000 to $30,000 higher.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
So it's a kind of a little perfect storm.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions on this? And we do appreciate the sacrifices that you guys are making on the increases and whatnot.
Well,
and
I
everything.
don't, I agree with you, but I don't think it's a sacrifice. And I've talked to our guys, we all pretty lucky and they have good jobs. And I think, I try to remind them every day, regardless of whether the 2% was coming or we were negotiating, they truly understand, whether I beat it in their head, that we have good jobs every day, and that we all are a team. And when the team, needs to buckle up and be a little more tight and a little more fiscally, I don't know if you get much more fiscally responsible than I am. I'm kind of tight on that type of stuff, but
Yeah, no.
I try to preach it, and the guys all understand. So I think they appreciate what they have.
So,
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Chief, ordinarily you'd have a step increase plus a percentage increase?
Well, it all depends. Like I said, the first year patrolman has steps in his first 4 years. They're about 5%.
Okay.
And then the next step wouldn't be to the completion of year 5. And then there's a step after the completion of year, I don't have the contract directly in front of me, but I think 8 and 10, and then it jumps to 18 years. So right now we have a bunch of new officers, so they're hitting that first, second, third, fourth step. And then after that, there's a little gap there for like 2 years, and then there's a bigger gap, and then as you get to 10, there's an 8-year gap. So, it all depends on where they're sitting on the, step increases. But yes, some people would have got a step increase of around 5%, and plus the additional contractual, which was 2%.
Okay, so the 2 is what's not in there pretty much.
Right. So anybody who didn't get a step increase, which is probably 3/4 of the department. I don't have that. I have a quick list in front of me. We have 1, 2, 5 people getting a step increase this year. And the rest of the department is not. So there's only 5 people technically getting a raise, but it's a contractual step raise, years of service, not a 2% for the entire department.
Okay.
But people do get an increase when they are pursuing their education. Is that correct?
It depends. They'll get a step increase when they're pursuing their education if they have an associate's degree, and then when they reach a bachelor's degree, and then when they reach a master's degree. In this budget, that 13,001 member has reached their associate's degree this year, so it upped their salary, which is in that permanent line. That permanent line pays for salaries plus the education incentive.
Oh, good. So we're covering that stuff. Yeah. Good.
We're covering step increases or educational increases.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Any other questions for the chief?
When you mentioned, Chief, the association, that meant just you and the officers in town?
The association, I'm really talking about the collective bargaining unit.
Yeah.
Yes, as far as that association, like I said, the collective bargaining.
Right. But every town sort of has that option then to.
What option is that?
To not take the 2% or whatever the raise is.
Well, yeah, everybody has that option, of course. I mean, they asked me, like I said, I was under contract. I mean, and they asked me, and like I said, it's all for one for all. So, I mean,
right.
I would hope that everybody stepped in and did the right thing. I mean, like I said, we've been treated well here, and I think that when you're asked on something, it's not taken lightly. I think it's taken seriously, and I would hope that everybody did do that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Oh, okay, thank you. Can you talk to us about the canine control?
The canine control is the easiest budget that we have. We presently, for the last 4 years, I think we're in the second, in July we'll be in the second year of the the bid. We had to put the kenneling and the call outs to pick up the dogs out for bid. We're in a second bid process, and JM Pet has won that bid process. We guarantee them this year. We went up a little higher with the guarantee because it was tough to get people to bid on it. We guarantee them 100 days of kenneling, which works to be about $2,700. That's the only guarantee that they get. So if they only kennel, keep dogs, each dog we have to kennel for 10 days, or if they get picked up. But we're only responsible for the first 10 days. So, and they are guaranteed 100 days. So if at the end of the June and we only had 70 kennelings, then we have to guarantee them another 30 more. So it's a pretty good deal. It's the best deal in town. This budget, I bet if you go back and look, hasn't been increased for 6, 7, 8 years.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that vicinity. And I think, like I said, we cannot beat what we do with that money. And this year, we just got a grant for $1,000 because we're also responsible for some medical with dogs and that come in. So the $1,000 grant that we got will assist us in some of the responsibilities that we have. And like I said, going back to that 10 days, after 10 days, under state law, either A, they're euthanized, or I give another option, B, the euthanization is part of the contract. I think it's $150. JM Pet is a big proponent on rescuing, and so are we. So I told her that we will also, instead of euthanizing, regardless of after 10 days, we will either A, give the money if the dog's sick, euthanize, or B, give the $150 to a shelter to make sure the dog is rescued and put in a good home. So like I said, I think they do a wonderful job at it, and we gave them that option, and I think it's a really good option.
Yeah, that is a good option. So do you handle a lot of dogs?
Well, yeah, we do handle a lot of dogs. When you have a good program like this,
yeah.
Unfortunately, people come and drop their dogs, and we've had many dogs tied, to trees in the Pine Hill Cemetery area and other areas, and we get mysterious phone calls. And knowing that we're going to pick them up, take care of them, so it's good because people know it, but it can be a little pricey, for West Bridgewater with it. But like I said, I don't think we've ever gone over this budget.
Yeah.
And JM Pet and Jenny over there do over the top. I mean, they don't do it for the money. It ain't about the money because they don't make much money from this. They do it because that's what they love to do.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions on this budget?
No.
Okay. Thanks, Chief.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to see
Have a
you.
great night.
Thank you,
You
Steve.
too.
You too.
All right. Nice to meet you all. I haven't met before. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, anything else that anybody wants to chat about before we adjourn? No? Okay. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, Scott,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Mo,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Cheryl,
Hi.
Cindy,
Aye.
Jan, I. It's unanimous.